now they're giving less importance to their work and their work ethic.
I'd rather be the one who can get the job done well.
Doesn't it seem unfair though? You're always trying to give it your 100%. And while you might be doing that, others kind of just cruise right on by at like 75%.
Anyone who's ever experienced burnout knows that it's anything but pleasant. So to avoid it, we try to exercise, get enough sleep, or reevaluate our daily, weekly timetable, maybe even watch a couple sitcoms just to take a break and have a laugh. Now, quiet quitting is said to be the next best thing to avoid burnout. Here with me to talk about this are Natalie Fitzpatrick, RJ Gabrantina, and Edelweiss Lim. Natalie, can you tell us how quiet quitting got started in the first place?
Sure, Brother Fell. Well, a quick search, the dictionary will tell us that quiet quitting is the practice of doing the bare minimum amount of work required for one's job. So basically not going above and beyond or doing more than necessary in whatever work you're doing or whatever task you're on. And as far as when that term began to trend, the internet tells us that Brian Creeley was the first one to use the phrase back in March 2022.
RJ, do you see this idea of quiet quitting going away anytime soon?
I don't think so, Brother Felmar. And it's a little unfortunate and almost a little disappointing, too. It seems that people have put workplace and their job lower on their priorities list. They've started to put more importance towards their hobbies and other interests, which are great things and fun to do, but it's a little ironic to me because when you work, you're able to pursue those things. You're able to afford going out to dinner, having activities with friends, or other things like that. But now they're giving less importance to their work and their work ethic. I saw in an article recently that something like 82% of Gen Z find doing the bare minimum for work very appealing.
What about you, Brother Felmer? What's your take on quiet quitting?
From what I can tell, Adel, there are several sides to this idea, and a couple issues actually connected to it. But what we can ask the Bible is this: how should people conduct themselves when earning a living or when at the workplace? I'll read for you what's stated here in the book of 1 Thessalonians. The chapter is 4, the verse is 11. Try your best to live quietly, to mind your own business, and to work hard, just as we taught you to do. How should people conduct themselves at the workplace or when earning a living? According to the inspired writings of Apostle Paul, we're taught, mind your own business, work hard. So for us as Christians, this is the standard that should take priority if and when you are at the workplace. So it wouldn't be right that God's servants who have the capacity to work and do a thorough job would simply refuse to do so.
That's great advice, and I get that, Brother Felmer. I do have a follow-up question though.
Okay.
What if you end up being the only one at work who gives it 100%?
Well, let's remember what the Bible also taught here. Mind your own business. So if others have chosen to do the bare minimum, just mind your own business. Still stay professional, of course, right? Stay kind with everybody. But if for others, their work ethic is only up until the bare minimum, just don't mind it. That's their decision. As members of the Church of Christ, what matters for us is that we have chosen to meet that high standard that God has set. Look at it this way. What would you rather be known for? The one who can only do the bare minimum, or the one who gets the job done well?
That's very true, Brother Felmer, and I agree to what you have said, brother. And if you're asking me, I'd rather be the one who can get the job done well, especially if I enjoy it, what I do, right? So thank you, Brother Felmer, for that reminder.
For sure.
Further to what Adel was saying, doesn't it seem unfair though? You're always trying to give it your 100%. You're always trying to do your best. And while you might be doing that, others kind of just cruise right on by at like 75%, maybe even less, maybe 50%. So by the time you get to your next paycheck and you're receiving the same amount as them, it's kind of hard to feel like that's okay when, you're doing all this hard work, and ratio wise, it seems like maybe you're getting paid less in the end and they're being paid more because of the amount of effort being put into what you're doing, or the amount of energy that you're spending on
Right.
the work that you do.
Well, Natalie, I see where you're coming from with that. Well, while scenarios like that do seem unfair, but what biblical truth should we hold on to so as not to be deterred from working hard? I'll read for you now what's stated here in Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. Do not be deceived, God is not mocked, for you reap whatever you sow. The Lord God is always fair. We reap whatever we sow. And so if what we plant or sow is hard work, diligence, we will surely reap the benefits of our diligence. And that's why it's just not worth it going along with this quiet quitting. Because if that's the mindset you allow yourself to be accustomed to, you are opening the possibility of you doing that to other areas of your life, such as your relationships, your goals, your responsibilities to your family, or worse, our duties to the Lord our God. Whereas if you prioritize God's standard, which we learned from the Bible earlier, you stick to minding your own business, staying focused on your own work, you work hard, and more importantly, you couple that with right living and prayer, God is fair. You will surely reap His blessings, and His blessings extend far beyond a paycheck.
Thank you, Brother Fell. The Bible's absolutely right. And we've learned in our worship services and in our Bible study lessons that we as Christians, members of the Church of Christ, we're supposed to shine as lights in the world anyways.
Correct. That's based on Matthew chapter 5, verses 14 to 16.
Right. So shining as a light in the world also includes the workplace, where we should work hard and do good deeds. We can be an example to others of what it means to be that diligent person that is putting that 100% effort into everything that we do and setting the bar when it comes to our work ethic.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Nat. And I think that's a great way to look at it, because you're right. We're not just employees at a workplace, but first and foremost, we are members of the Church of Christ. And we're members of the Church of Christ everywhere we go, including the workplace. Brother Felmar, if I can share a personal experience of reaping what we have sowed and also shining as lights in the world. I've experienced it personally. In my own workplace, I recruited a friend of mine who's also a member of the Church of Christ, and he now works with me. He also recruited another member, and they recruited another member. So we actually work with a total of 4 members of the Church of Christ in the same department. And all of us are well known by our colleagues and our bosses to be very hard workers. So much so that when there was job openings, our boss literally told me, saying, let's go to their church. Let's stand outside with a sign. Who needs a job? This is a great example of reaping what we sowed. We're working very hard to earn our living. We were able to bring other church members into workplaces to earn their living. So it's great to know that what we put out is seen by other people of this world too, and they attribute it to our characteristics and who we are as people, but more importantly, who we are as members of the Church of Christ. And we give great reputation to our faith.
Adel, what's your biggest takeaway from today's discussion?
Well, Brother Falmar, my biggest takeaways from today's topic discussion is really the fact that although quiet quitting is quite trendy these days, most especially within the youth, right? But as members inside the Church of Christ, we must always remember that we don't need to go and follow all these trends. And as what mentioned earlier, we are the lights of this world. Therefore, practice and hold on to the Christian culture so that we can also inspire this generation to work well and to spread kindness to one another.
Natalie, we'll close off with you. What would you say to a fellow brother or sister in the faith who might still be undecided or still dealing with quiet quitting?
I would say, first off, as a member of the Church of Christ, our number one priority is to follow God's words and to lean into His teachings. And one of those things that we heard today was to work hard. So to start off, just keeping that as a reminder, work hard and have that in the back of your mind at all times will already be enough encouragement towards making progress in avoiding quiet quitting. Second step could be even to just find what time of the day works best for you. While at times in the day, maybe for some of us, we don't feel like we've got the energy, or maybe we're a little bit burnt out because we've had a lot to deal with already, sometimes you just need to reset, and you need to give yourself the time to be able to do that. And that's okay. At the same time, though, there's so many tools available to all of us through incmedia.org. We can find programs and shows that talk about the struggles that other brothers and sisters around the world have also gone through, and the steps that they've taken, and the way that they have relied on God to help them get through whatever it is that's hindering them to be able to accomplish whatever it is they need.
Well, that brings us to the end of our discussion. We'll see you on the next one. God bless.